February, and we have 2025 along so beautifully. Now, I've got a little word of exhortation for you. You know, exhorting someone is actually encourage them. And today, I wanted to give you a little thought from the Apostle Paul. It goes in Ephesians 5:15. He says, "Be careful, attention, then to how that you walk, not as the unwise, but as the wise." So it's always important to make sure that you are very wise in dealing with people and also situations. Now, wisdom in its simplest form is the ability to come to a wise decision by examining both the knowledge and the information that you have, and then also to discern what's going on. Now, when we talk about discernment, we're talking about being able to, filter through all the different realms that you are dealing with. And it's so important that these days, that part of that filter, of course, is the Word of God and also allowing the Lord to be part of that situation. Now, we have a lot of things going on these days, and it is really wise to be able to navigate that. You know, the Bible talks about one particular friend, and he is a fellow that I've often used in my illustrations, but I'll use him again. His name is Joseph. Now, Joseph, of course, was a Judean prince. He was from the land of Canaan, and he was a Hebrew. And he was used to having, favor. But when he was sold into prison, by his own brothers, and sold into slavery, he found himself in a very uncomfortable position. And many times we find ourselves in uncomfortable positions where we have environments and we have people and we have circumstances and situations that stretch us, that make us have to decide what kind of decisions we're going to make. Well, that's what happened, of course, to Joseph. He found himself on a slave block. That's right, an actual slave block. Here you have this Canaan, Judean, Hebrew prince all of a sudden in on a slave block. Now, he's got to make some decisions about how he is going to live. Is he going to adapt into the environment? Is he going to allow the environment? Is he going to allow the circumstances? Is he going to allow the people to shape his character? Or is he going to stand out as different? Well, Joseph made some decisions. When he was sold into slavery to Potiphar's house, he made some personal decisions. And one of those decisions was to walk with integrity, to walk with truth, to be, to subscribe to what he was taught as he was the son of Jacob. Jacob, of course, was a follower of the true and living God. There he was in the midst of a polytheistic society. It would have been very easy to bow down to all the gods of Egypt, but he chose not to. You see, integrity is what you do in private when nobody is around looking. And it was Gordon MacDonald who said that what we need to do every single day is order our private world. Make sure that we spend time looking inwardly and saying, okay, I know that today I'm going to go into a world that is, a lot of it's fake. A lot of it is confused. A lot of it is urgent, and they have the wrong priorities. So I got to make sure that I have the right priorities throughout the day, that there are certain qualities that I want to exhibit and demonstrate. I want to be true to myself. I want to be true to God. I want to be true to those qualities that are going to help people, encourage people, be a role model for people. And this is really important when you have children, because your children, whether you like it or not, they are going to follow in your footsteps. There's an old song that says, "Daddy, don't you walk so fast." It's about a little girl who is, trying to follow her dad's footsteps. Or you have that other song by Judge Strug that, Call Me a Daisy a Day. Or the one by Cat Stevens, who says, a cat's in the cradle, and you grow up to be just like your parents. Well, make sure that as a parent, and also as a dad or mom, whatever role model you're in, basically remember your kids are watching your actual activity and your responses. My mom was an interesting character. When I was 16 years old, I'd been smoking from the time that I was 10 years old to the time that I was 16. 2 days before my birthday, she caught me smoking. And she says, "You're not supposed to smoke." And I'm looking at her and said, "Mom, you smoke." And then she said the classic. She says, "Well, don't do as I do, do as I say." Now, you're 16 years old and you're, kind of smart and dumb at the same time. I basically said, well, that just doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't. And the truth of the matter is, you've got to show by example. So that's why Paul says, be careful. Be, attention. Stop for just a moment and think about how you are walking in this world. Think about the example that you are displaying in your world right now. What are you saying about yourself? For example, you're driving down the road and some guy cuts you off, and then you do something crazy like honk your horn or go into road rage. I've been watching some videos on road rage. It was kind of interesting. What are you saying about yourself? Well, basically, you're saying yourself, you have no self-control. That's what you're saying about yourself. So it is important to be walking wisely these days, and also to be able to discern what is real and what is not real. Listen, I remember there used to be a place called Consumers Distributors when I was, growing up, a young teenager, and they would sell knockoff items. So you had, for example, a knockoff studio, what we would call a stereo system put in your car. And my friend George, he bought a Pioneer system, and it rocked. I mean, it was well done. I decided to, take a cheaper brand, and it was called Certified. It didn't sound like my friend's stereo at all. And so when you decide to go for, the imitation, it's never as good as the real thing. Don't be an imitator. Be an innovator. Be the real McCoy. Walk today with integrity. Walk today with honesty. Walk today with love and acceptance and forgiveness. Walk in mercy. Walk in grace. Demonstrate those wonderful qualities that show that there's something deeper than just the surface. A lot of people today are very shallow and surface orientated. I mean, you can watch social media and people are out there doing their, things. I'm hanging here and doing that. And what are they doing it? It's doing for attention. We don't need to be attention seekers. We need to be wise. It was Mark Twain who basically said, I sure hope that common sense becomes the fashion. 100 years before, there was another guy whose name was Thomas Jefferson, and he said the same thing. And now people are saying the same thing today. Oh, I'm sure glad when common sense becomes the fashion again. Well, you and I, we have an opportunity to show that in our lives. Let's watch how we think. Let's watch how we talk. But most important, let's watch how we interact with people. Let us be people that they're glad that we came, not glad that we left. Okay? It's very important. That's our responsibility. And remember this, whatever you put into your life, it comes out in your life. So if you're thinking positive and you're living, with integrity and honesty and, the good qualities, that's going to come out. And that's going to make you rise above. You see, there's lots of people out there that are imitators. It's not time to be an imitator. It's time to be an innovator. And there's a wonderful post on Facebook that goes like this: stand for what is right, even if you're standing alone. Because the reality of the situation is, with what's going on today, especially around the world, where everything is being upset, at least you be consistent. People will look and say, at least there's somebody who's got their head on straight when everybody else is losing their head. So it's just something. So be careful, attention. Be careful how you walk. Walk with wisdom and not with the unwise. A little exhortation for you today. Well, of course, if you like what you've been hearing and seeing, I always encourage you to press the like button and subscribe to my YouTube channel. My name is Robert Dean Steele. Thanks for spending some time with me today.